Hello everybody, Pinstripe here. Welcome back to some more Hogs of War gameplay on in the background again. It's all about talking about life stuff once more. We're going to get in deep, but not as deep as you think, because as severe as the video title may sound, this is coming from a personal experience that occurred to me very recently, because I had my appendix removed. Sadly, I'm still in that age bracket where your appendix can flare up. Basically, as soon as your appendix becomes inflamed, it's not something you can ignore because the bacteria within your appendix can, if left for a prolonged period of time, can end up infecting your blood and can become life-threatening. So it's not exactly something that I could take the man approach of and just, nah, it's fine, I'll ignore it, I'll sleep on it, which I did, thinking that everything would be fine. It started off as like, just a feeling of nausea. When that dissipated, I still had this aching, sore feeling in my kind of lower right abdomen, and it clicked in my mind of, oh no, it's my appendix. When that happens, you have to then prepare yourself for, the idea of surgery. So, checked myself into hospital, went through all the necessary people, telling them my symptoms, and ran some blood work, did the usual stuff. And it came back that, yeah, my appendix is inflamed and inevitably I will have to end up on the operating table. Now, I've never had any kind of surgery done, so this was, if anything, exciting for me. Many people would say I sound bonkers saying that because, surgery and those kinds of things, anything involving an operation, there's that element of fear of, oh crap, I'm going to have to go under, I'm going to have to be on the heavy stuff. And that was always playing in the back of my mind, but mainly for me the interesting part was being able to experience that altered state of consciousness. We're all so deeply embedded within the game of life that our consciousness consists of going to bed where you have controlled unconsciousness, right? You know that you're asleep, you know that you're dreaming technically, and that's where I guess you can have lucid dreams, but you never go so far, you never go so deep into the likes of, heavy anesthesia where you just have no concept of what's going on. And that was exactly what occurred to me. So that was always playing in my mind when I was in the hospital, when I was waiting for my surgery to come around, because it got to about 2 a.m. on the first night that I was in hospital, and it was pushed back until the morning after, not until like midday roughly, so I couldn't eat or drink anything, as you'd expect. You don't want anything in your stomach or being processed within your body when you're about to have surgery, so absolutely starved. Was able to eat until a certain period of time, and then I couldn't, and then came the big moment of being wheeled into the operating theatre, speaking to the anaesthetist. That's a tricky title to say, I gotta say. And then going through the procedure of connecting up my heart monitor. And again, throughout all of this procedure, I can't deny there's that small part of me that had that element of fear of, holy crap, this is such a crazy experience. But then the majority of me was just like, wow, I'm so ready for this. Let's do this. Let's see what happens. So when the heart monitor's all connected up to my chest, I'm hearing my heartbeat. I'm looking over at the monitor. I'm seeing what my heart rate is and all those amazing stats. I'm hearing my heartbeat, which is also kind of cool. And they put the oxygen mask on me, and I'm told to just focus on my breathing. And while that occurs, the anesthetic is being injected into me, as I then eventually slowly drift off to sleep. But before that happens, the anaesthetist is slowly increasing the pressure of the mask onto my face. So internally I'm thinking, oh crap, this is becoming not tougher to breathe, but just that I'm having to focus more heavily on it because of that pressure that is being applied to my face. It sounds kind of psychotic of someone just pushing this mask down on your face harder and harder, but actually it's really clever because it tricks your mind into thinking like, all right, I need to focus on my breathing. And as you do, that's when somebody just calls cut on your existence, and I have no recollection of what happens until I wake up, which I did. And I've never felt more groggy in my entire life. Like, how you feel when you wake up and you're just so sleepy? It was like that, but times 100. It just insane levels of grogginess. So after that, there's that sense of relief because I'm all fixed up. I'm still existing. That's wonderful. And I just need to go through the process now of getting through one more night in the hospital before checking out and then going home and looking after my organism. I mean, I'm used to diets. I'm used to changing what I'm eating all the time. So kind of cutting out red meats, basically things that you need for good digestion. So yogurts, white meats at most like fish and chicken. And yeah, just kind of incorporating that for the next 2 weeks, which I have been. And it's been wonderful getting back to finally using the Italian meats that I ordered before my appendix decided to call quits on life. That's been the most frustrating thing, actually, is just the delay that it's put on my life, right? The appendix is such a useless part of your body's function that, a lot of babies that are being born now are actually being born without appendixes because... I mean, it's a perfect example of how we're still evolving as a species. But as an organism, it was just a crazy experience for me to observe my body being like, hey, this isn't great. And the moment actually that I found the most fascinating, it wasn't being under anesthetic and sleeping. It was actually when I had my CT scan, whereby they injected a dye into my body, which kind of felt like the only way I can describe it is when you have drank a lot of, when you've taken that first swig of whiskey or, like a hard liquor, and you feel that kind of heat, you feel that warmth sort of encompassing your entire body. But it was like that, but everywhere. And it was just this really warm feeling. It was so strange. But then when the machine, when the CT scan started doing its thing, and I could actually feel the lasers being, moving around my body, it almost pinpointed the exact spot of where that discomfort feeling was coming from. And in that moment in my mind, I was like, hey, that's where you are. That's where my appendix is. You need to get out of me right now because I would like to get on with my life. As we've had many a deep conversation so far in regards to the ego and the self, while I was in hospital, it was a real observation for me internally in that my ego was terrified and just, oh God, it's a hospital, this is where people come and end, this is where life starts and life ends at the same time. Meanwhile, my inner self was honestly just observing and was the more fascinated of the two and just thinking, I'm going to have all these procedures done, I'm going to have a change in consciousness, and as I say, just observing my surroundings. When I was first put into a hospital bed, when I finally got one, directly opposite me there was a 98-year-old man who looked mummified, right? There's no nice way to describe it, but he really did. And it really got me thinking about life and just the craziness of age and that whole spiel. As somebody who doesn't fear death anymore, and as hipstery as that may sound, death doesn't bother me anymore, dude. No, seriously, as somebody who finds just life and the flow of life so fascinating, it was just quite the experience, the entire thing. I had keyhole surgery, so I had 3 incisions made in my abdomen, which have now healed, and I'm able to eat the regular foods again, which is wonderful, and I'm able to get back to work, which was my primary thing. When it kind of started, when the worst of the pain occurred, I was, in the middle of hardcore work. I was busy trying to plan out grass and particle effects and this, that, and the other, and it was a major interruption, but at the same time, it was a major eye-opener, and I just wanted to ramble about it for a little bit of time. But have you guys ever had any surgery done? Have you ever had any changes or altered states of consciousness? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know what you have to say, and I'll catch you guys later for the next one.